Assalamu alaikum. This is chapter 7. We are going to start with implementing and controlling the strategic plan. So most of this chapter is going to focus on implementation and controlling the strategic plan. We'll focus on strategic plan. So we'll see what is a strategic plan and what is the purpose of a strategic plan. Also how it's working. The main purpose of a strategic management plan is to help a business to meet its objectives. Usually it outlines the actions and decisions for any organization in order to achieve its goals. So the main purpose is to help a business meet its objectives by outlining the actions and decisions in order to help the organization to achieve its goals, objectives, whatever the organization wants to achieve by the end, mainly goals and objectives. What is a strategic plan? So a strategic plan, any organization management the focus is on organizational management activity, which is used to put priorities, focus energy, resources, strengthen the operations. All these are done to ensure that all the employees, stakeholders are working towards common goals. All those people in that organization are working towards those required goals. Establishing a kind of agreement between those people around the outcomes and results. So they want all those people who are involved in the strategic plan, all of them to focus on the goals and to work according to that, to meet good outcomes and results in order to assess and adjust the organization's scope of activities, the possibilities or the choices of the activities. Again, we can say a strategic plan, also a systematic process that helps the organization to set an ambition for the business future and how best to achieve that process, to find a good way for the future and determine how best to achieve it, to find or decide on how the best way to achieve those objectives. So strategic plan, you can make use of both of them, put it in one thing, or you can give me two different ideas, but the main thing of all those things, all those people, management or involved in the organization, stakeholders, employees, all those people should agree on common goal and they should work accordingly to come out with good results. By adjusting the scope of activities, the choice of activities or possibilities of those activities. Also, we are saying strategic planning is a systematic process. It's a process going from step to step, helping the organization to be more ambitious, looking for a better future, and also finding or deciding on the best way to achieve those goals. So it's a good thing, helping the organization to plan earlier before starting the implementation part. What is the purpose of a strategic plan? Strategic planning is to set overall goals. We said this is not new, and also develop a plan to achieve those goals. Again, not new. It involves all the activities, daily activities, operation, wherever the business is trying to reach. They are trying to make the path or the way for those activities easy, smooth, because the organization or the business is headed to what its priorities should be. Make the things or the way for the organization, knowing the way or making the way for the organization smooth to reach its goals by focusing on the priorities. In this case, the main aim of strategic planning is to make or build a kind of agreement a kind of agreement among the top people, the management level, the people who have award in the organization, the people where they have the big authority. So those top management people, they should know the destiny of the organization. They should help with that, make everything possible for the organization to reach its destiny. In order to do that, there are primary purpose is the main purpose for the strategic plan is to connect those three areas. The main thing in the strategic plan to connect those 3 points, to connect the mission with the vision with the plan. Mission, defining the business purpose, what the organization want to be, by having a very clear mission. Vision, what the organization want to achieve by the end of that process, which is at the end, the biggest picture. And how we are going to do that through the plan, outlining how the organization is going to work to achieve the ultimate goals, to achieve the highest or the biggest goals they are looking for. So again, the purpose of a strategic plan, making all those people work accordingly, following daily operations, making sure the management level have a kind of agreement to drive the organization to its destiny, because their role is very important in that. The main primary purpose of doing that, to connect those 3 things, mission, vision, and plan. I think this is clear. Another strategic purpose for strategic planning, another significant purpose for strategic planning is to manage and reduce risk. One of the best things strategic planning is helping the organization to manage the work in the organization, and the best thing is to reduce risk. How we can do that? Let us see. Growing a business is inherently risky. That means naturally is risky. Any kind of business which is growing, getting bigger and bigger, departments are becoming more, responsibility is becoming more, branches is increasing, growing. So that means the nature of that is risky. So how we can avoid those problems? By having a good strategic plan. Detailed planning. If you have a good plan, detailed plan will help in those 3 points, or will help to reduce uncertainty, to reduce a lot of things that you are not sure of, to analyze potential risk, to analyze any possible risk that you might come across, because you are doing a strategic planning. You are studying the organization, making a clear plan, looking at the 4 SWOT, looking at the 4 things in that organization. In this case, you have a clear picture. In this case, analyzing the problems or difficulties you might come across. You will be having a good, clear picture of the market. Also, implement risk control measure. It will help you to know how you can evaluate risk. That will help you later to do number 4. Consider how to minimize the impact of risk. If you have good measurement, you know how to evaluate the risk. In this way, you are minimizing the impact of risk if they happen or occur. So if a risk is going to happen, by your analysis, by doing those 4 things, by good strategic plan, you are reducing the risk. Or you might find alternatives before that risk occur. Seems clear, yes? The major parts of a standard strategic plan. If I want to put a plan for my organization, I should think of those parts. If you want to add whatever you want to add is good. Other things come to your mind is good according to the size of the organization, but these are the main parts of a standard strategic plan. I think all of them are clear. Mission, vision, aspiration means also aiming to, or the objectives that you want to reach. Core values, what kind of values you believe in. ethics of that organization. Means if you have good values, strong ethics, that means you are on the right track. No cheating, no working from under the tables. This is the idea of core values. You have done a good things on strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. You did a kind of SWOT analysis to know these things. Also, strategic plan, major part of it is knowing the objectives. Strategies will help you to know the objectives, strategies, and the operational part, which is tactics, or how to implement or be aware of those previous things, the objectives. It gives you an idea if you have planned this well. So make sure it's one of the things you are aware of your objectives, strategies, operational strategies, tactics, that mean will help you, will lead you to know how to implement those tactics, also aware of them in the real life when it comes to implementation. Also, one of the most important part of strategic plan, measurement and funding stream. You know how to measure, to evaluate risk. You know your position in the market. You are able to evaluate that, and funding stream, from where you will get the fund, from where you will get the what we can say money for that work. So funding is very important. Otherwise, you won't be able to carry on with your plans. And the last step is the action plan. Later on, based on the analysis of the previous mentioned points, all those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, based on that, the action plan will be clear, and it will be easy to implement later on in the market. That's all for the most important parts of a strategic plan. Then, the coming one. Why do we need a strategic plan? Do we need a strategic plan? Yes, we need. As business, we need to work based on a clear plan, knowing the surroundings, knowing the environment that we are working in, knowing our strength, internal things, and internal and external abilities, or threats. So this way we need it. Why do we need? Yes, we need. Why? Because it brings a sense of focus. When we have a clear plan, so we can focus on our objectives, our targets. A strategic plan establishes a direction for the business to take. If you have a clear strategic plan, you know from where to start and which direction to follow, according to what we mentioned earlier, according to what we said, these things, analysis or study or clear picture of all those things will lead you to a better direction. Also, I need a strategic plan because it will help and sharpen its focus in order to get there. It will help the organization to be more focused in order to reach its objectives or aims. Also, strategic planning help organization to develop the right goals and targets. According to the previous slides, let us go back to it. According to clarification of this, analysis of these points, I am able to develop my right goals and targets. Also, I need a strategic plan to help me or anyone in that organization, to help all the employees, stakeholders, supply, or anyone involved in that business, to help them focus their effort into meeting the objectives, help them to meet the objectives of the organization. Therefore, we said a strategic plan is required. You will be more focused. All those things are clear to top management, employees at the same time. Anyone involved in the process of implementation need to be aware of these plans. Why? As last point, it will help them focus their effort to meet the objectives of the organization. Up to here, we described the strategic plan, importance of strategic plan, parts of strategic plan, what is a strategic plan, the main purpose of a strategic plan. All these are done before the stage of implementation. If the strategic plan is ready, then they start strategy implementation. Now, from ideal, from mental, from things from on paper, will come to the implementation, to the reality. You will work on it in the market. So strategy implementation. Implementation is important. It's one of the fundamental part for an organization to develop. It's a continuous process. You are moving from step to step to step. That means implementation is important. Also, it covers all the activities required in any organization to put strategies into practice. What we said earlier, the strategic plan that we talked about in all the previous slides, 7 or 8 slides, all they are preparing for this stage. Also, implementation ensures that what you set up as essential implementation, ensure that the organization has good setup of successful implementation, it will need to secure 5 important elements in the organization. Again, implementation is good for any organization after good strategic planning. I'm just going again to the last point, which ensures this point, ensuring that good setup, successful implementation is needed for the organization to secure, to make things more saved, secure, focusing on 5 important elements in the implementation stage. Paying attention to people who are carrying the implementation, all employees, management, people in the field, even lower level employees, they are important. They are part of this implementation, part of the strategy you put. Resources, depending on the resources, it's very important, highly required, because it will lead the organization either to carry on successfully, or you might face risk or problems might occur. Structure of the organization, who's giving the order. Is it a long hierarchy thing or directly from management to the implementation? Also, structure has a very strong effect on the implementation. Later on, I think in one of the chapters, we'll talk about the structure of the organization, how it affects the implementation stage. System and the culture of the organization. All those 5 elements in the organization need to be secured, highly required to be safe, to be on the safe side, to be fully achieved or covered, and to the side of these things to be able to succeed in implementing a right strategy. Sometimes the strategy is well planned, but the implementation, something wrong goes here with people or with resources or structure or the system or the culture of the organization, then you might lose control during the implementation stage. So implementation, one of the most important part of a strategic plan when it comes to reality, to be implemented. Vital steps to carry out the implementation. Very crucial, very important steps to implement a strategy. Number 1, install a new business management structure. If the management level in the organization is not that supportive, so it is a time or the chance or the right time to put a new management structure, to form a new structure in the organization if this is necessary for the success of your plans. Number 2, assign clear roles and responsibility to those implementing the plan. Make sure that everyone knows his role and responsibility. No overlapping of duties and responsibilities to avoid problems. Also, communicate the strategy. What do you mean by communicate the strategy? Now translated. Make Everyone know his role in the process, in the strategy, processes, goals, to staff, stakeholders, etc. Means what I said is clear, but let me repeat this point. Clearly transfer your strategy, your process and goals to all the peoples who are involved in implementing that. To make you need to make everyone know his role and responsibility. Okay, and then let us move to secure funding and resources. You need to keep the funding and resources more secured, more safer. Why? Because they are the main thing for the success of the organization. You need to carry on with the funding. You need to make your resources stronger and stronger, because you are not alone in the market. Remember, you have competitors and you have many other environmental issues, not only competitors. So make sure you keep safe your fundings and resources. Also, we need those fundings and resources to create new ideas or changes that need to happen. If sometimes your alternatives need to be changed, so money is there, funding is there, resources are available to help you, either to create new ideas, initiatives, or changes you might do, kind of changes. And manage change efficiently and effectively. Know what to do and what to be done and how should be done. Make sure the work is going. Manage the change efficiently and effectively. Enable staff to dedicate time and effort to the agreed action. Make sure that employees have the right time, enough time and effort that is required to reach their required as action or to reach their targets. Again, the last one I will repeat. Enable staff to dedicate time and effort to the agreed action. Make sure that employees have the right time and effort to reach the goals, to be able to do the right action required from them. For example, if you want an employee to finish so and so and so and so, don't tell him, come tomorrow, I want to come and see so and so and so done. Allow him enough time to do that, to be efficient, sufficient as required. I think it's clear, right? And let us move to the basic implementation process. This is one of the most important slides. Either if you get an assignment or you get a test, we'll see what's going to happen later on as a final decision, and then I'll give you a clear picture of the final decision, either assignment or an open book exam. So this slide is very important for that part, whatever is the decision going to be. Basic implementation process. Before I start processing the implementation, look at the arrows. Look at the head of the arrow going in one direction and coming back. It looks like a circle. It looks like a circle, going from a step to a step, coming back to the first step. So, strategy choice. At the planning process, when they start, they put options. If you remember the options long time ago, we talked about them in chapter 1 or 2. You decided on that option. Then you start, according to the option, you start with the statement of main strategy objectives. You start executing the main strategy objectives, writing your objectives clearly according to your choice. Then from that, starting formulating specific plans. From the clear objectives, starting formulating clear plans, which comes the strategic planning. Doing that depending on the resources allocation and budgeting, focusing or based on the resources that you have, strength of resources you have, and the amount of budget you are depending on to carry on those plans. And you can apply this to any company. Let us say McDonald's, or let us say butcher shop, let us say one of those cars agency, let us say Toyota, for example. They have options. They are working internationally all over the world, so they have choices of strategy. According to that strategy, they put their main objectives wherever they are working. For example, so and so and so and so and so. This is the main broad objectives, and they have various objectives to work in Gulf countries or Europe or Asia, but the main objectives are clear. According to those, they start formulating their specific plans. Why specific plans? Because each area requires various plans. Depends on the type of cars, depends on the budget of people, depends on the environmental changes, many things. According to that, they look at their resources and budget. Are they able to fund these things in various locations? Okay, and this, if you are clear with that, the implementation comes where I put my actions into implementation. I'll be following and controlling the procedures or the actions that are going to happen in the market. So you need to follow and control the actions. Look at your objectives. Are they achieved or not? Look at your resources. Are they enough to carry on your plans? Even if you want to increase the plan, if you add something in your plan, resources is one of the most important things for your success in the market. Validity of the planned environmental projection, the accuracy, to which extent your plan is accurate, bearing in mind the environmental plan. Bearing in mind the environmental plans. All these are part of the implementation thing. Again, then we'll go to the strategy. If all those things are achieved well, implemented well, then we'll go back to the strategy choice, saying, looking, if we achieve that, means we selected the right strategy. If you come across a lot of problems, challenges, or risk, that means something wrong with the implementation or resources or fundings, or even the 5 points that we mentioned. Let me go back to those. Secure 5 elements. Something wrong went with those things. Mostly a lot of problems happens in the field because of those. Either people are not treated well, either resources are not enough, either the structure of the organization is not supporting, something wrong with the system, the culture of the organization. All these might lead to a problem, or the opposite. You might give good support for implementing the right strategy. I think I covered it well. If you want to ask later about it, selecting a business to talk about will be okay. If you want to ask me later, you can ask, as we said, in the WhatsApp group. The other slide is talking about, again, the implementation. The basic elements of strategic implementation process. So even if you want to implement, the process is going into parts. Number one, the basic elements of strategic implementation process. These are the main thing for a right process. Number one, you need to identify. You need, is it this one? Yeah, you need to identify your goals, general objectives, aims. You should identify, you should clarify, you should know. Formulate according to that your plans. Build it depending on the resources. It's the same thing as this diagram. It's the same thing saying what the diagram said, but in another way. Okay, so these are how implementation is going to be carried out. How the implementation is going to be carried out. I'm talking about this one here in this slide. Again, identifying our main goals or objectives of the organization. According to that, those goals and objectives, we'll start formulating our plans. According to the plans, we'll look at our resources and budgeting. Those two are together. Fund or monetary sources from where we will get all this amount of funding or money. This is the budget. And when we are implementing, monitoring is one of the most important things, following the process from A to Z, which is very important. At the same time, controlling. If you may, summarizing the previous diagram. This is summarizing the previous diagram. And controlling, I'll go back to controlling, is one of the it's connected to monitoring. Monitoring, following the process from A to Z, and also controlling the business, how it's going or how it's moving. Are you in the right direction? If not, you need to go back to it. Avoid the risk. This is the idea of controlling. Avoid the risk, or if the risk is going to happen, at least with minimum amount of loss. Importance of strategic control. Do we need to have a kind of strategic control? Yes. Controlling will, number one, monitor will help to control the operational part. Monitor will help to control the operational part. Monitor means following it from time to time, making sure you are in the right direction. This is one of the things, one of the most important things for controlling the work. Strategic control system we need, because controlling is important. It will help to control the system, to monitor the main elements of the strategy, to follow the main parts of the strategy and its objectives. Obtain information to take action. You are getting the right information if required to take the action. If something happened in between, you need to obtain, to get the right information to take action. Also, importance of strategic control is helping to assess the allocation of resources, to assess the specified resources. To which extent my resources are relevant, to which extent my resources are enough, to which extent my resources are competent. So you need to follow, monitor. This is the way that you are controlling the thing. It also, strategic control is important because it will help to evaluate the performance of individual managers. So each part someone is responsible for. So it's a chance to evaluate the performance of each of those managers. Also, to monitor environment for significant change, to avoid risk. This is the idea, to monitor environment for significant changes. This will help you to monitor you are moving through. While you are moving, will come in the implementation stage. When you are monitoring, controlling, it will reduce that. It will avoid risk. If not avoiding, will reduce amount of the negative effect of the risk. It will provide timely feedback. It will give you required feedback at each stage of the process, which is good. To fine-tune of changing needs. The idea of the last one is to make good choices to the required changes. To make good choices to the required changes. This is the idea of fine-tune. I think it's clear. Let us talk about now the benefits. What are the benefits of a strategic plan? Strategic plan is good. Why do we need it? Importance of that. In which way it is good if I have a strategic plan? The benefit, the good things that I'm going to get from it. Number one, clarify direction, identify common vision, solve problems, achieve goals. That means if you have a strategic plan, you know how to work, According to the vision, you will be able to solve problems if you come across in the same area through the implementation process and following it, you will achieve your goals. Number two, keep pace with changing client needs, fundings, program priorities. Means what? Keep you aware or updated or updating you with the needs of clients or with the need of customers. You are updated with the fundings, with the priorities of the programs. This is the good thing about strategic planning benefits. Let me explain even this one, the rest are clear. It allows organization to be proactive rather than reactive. Yes, this is one of the most important things. If you have good strategic plan, it will make you take an action rather than waiting to take late action. Let me clarify it again. If you come across a problem or before getting the problem, you are expecting kind of problems because of the process, because of the clear plan, and you see the market, you are aware of the market, so you can take an action before the problem happens. This is the idea of allowing you to be proactive, of allowing the organization to be proactive, taking an action before the action happens rather than reactive. Don't wait, never wait for something to happen, then take an action. Always try to avoid that problem to happen. The rest are easy. Increase operational efficiency, benefit of strategic plan, help increase market share and profitability. This is also clear. Here are also clear. Read them, see them. Let me go to that with the red one. Unique differentiation, avoid competitive convergence. Avoid competitive convergence. Yes, means what? The benefit of a strategic plan always gives you a chance to be unique in the market. No one is like you. You have a lot of competitors in the market. In this way, when we want you to be unique, try to avoid competitive coverages, okay? Competitive convergence, yes, competitive convergence. Try to avoid that. What do you mean by this? Try to be different than the competitors, not to be with the competitors in the same line. Avoid similarity with the competitors. This is the idea. Avoid similarity with the competitors. We need you to be unique. This is the benefit of strategic planning. You can avoid this problem while you are planning, thinking of a lot of ideas, thinking a lot of alternatives, making something special for you as a star in between all those competitors. Never try to be similar to them. Even if you have something better, don't come down. Always try to make something distinctive, different than them. And the last one, I think it's clear. Yes, all of them are clear except this one and the previous 2 and 3. I explained them to you. And if they are not clear for you, you can ask me later. But I think they are clear. Let us see the last part again. Make the business more durable means make the business more stronger. Make wise business decision is clear. And longevity of the business, create a long life for the business. This is the idea. And آخر واحدة, or the last one, we can say increase job satisfaction. I think you are aware of them, right? The last slide is talking about the difference between strategic plan and business plan. You should be aware of those two. We might need them later on. You should be aware. Anyway, both of them are very important, essential planning tools. strategic plan and business plan. Both of them are very important tools for any business. This is number one. And this depends on your business stage and goals. According to that, maybe one of them is more important or more useful than the other one. Depends on the business or your own, depends on type of business. Sometimes you might focus more on business plan rather than strategic plan. This again depends on that, but both of them are very important tool for any business. Okay, so both of them are important. Which one is more important depends on you as a business, the stage of that business, at the level or stage of that business and the goals of the business. So at that time, one of them might be more important than the other one. Okay, so strategic plan, a long-term thing, 3 to 5 years, a long-term thing, and set out to take tasks, the milestone and the step needed to drive your business forward. Means what? It's 5 years, it's a long-term plan. It is there to set out the activities or the tasks that are, it's a kind of sign or marks, clarification for the job, and it's a step. The step are needed strongly to drive the business towards success or forward. Okay. Here the idea of and set out tasks, this means putting the activities for the organization, the milestones and steps. So that means it makes a kind of signs or mark, clarification for the job, clarifying the jobs and steps needed, which are needed strongly to drive the business ahead, forward. While business plan focuses on short term, that one is long term. Business plan is a very short term plan. It's never more than 1 year. Maximum is 1 year. Why? Because it's helping or serving a specific goal. It's looking only at a specific thing. For example, starting a business. How do you start a business? Or getting funding, the main focus on that funding, or directing operation. So the main focus only on one thing, serving a specific goal for a short period of time. Yes, and then this is the last slide. We are here to look at the tutorial questions. Look at those questions. Try to know the answers for these. Even try to implement these things on one of the selected business organization, one of the restaurants, one of the agencies, one of the market, anything in the market. Try to implement those things on that thing. Talk about major parts of a standard plan. For example, major parts of a standard plan. When we say that, it seems like I'm repeating because this one I talked about earlier. Major parts of a standard plan. When we say talk about, don't list them, discuss them, explain them, or show me examples. You can provide examples to support your answer. This way you are on the safe side. Explain why do we need a strategic plan. You have it on the slides, but you have it as points. We need you to explain them. Again, discuss the vital steps for implementing a strategy. Discuss in detail basic implementation process. Differentiate between strategic plan and business plan. When we say differentiate, you can draw a table. Put this on one side and that one in the other side as points. If you have a good example on strategic plan will be good, on business plan will be good. That's all for today. By next week, everything will be clear. So I'll tell you what is the final decision, either a third assignment or open book exam or only those 2 assignments and the mark will be rounded again. All the best. Wish you all the best. What I want you to do only to focus on your study. Don't worry, everything will be fine and you will inshallah finish on the right time. All the best.